Well, I thought you was going. Well, I just want to know, brother Usiku, why do you feel like you need a spiritual cleanse?
No, it started. A short story, '86 in New York City, and that's when someone put something in me.
I'm gonna say your birthday because that's what your mother gave you. Calling on Derek's mother, Cecile. We're calling on her to guide him, to guide his path. We're asking that you walk with him. We're asking that you remove anything that's on your son. We're asking that you remove anything that's in his body. We're asking the ancestors to rise up. Ancestors,
rise up, ancestors, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, ancestors, rise up, ancestors.
Move all bad things away from him, away from his path, away from his body, out of his soul, out of his mind. We're asking that you rise up on his behalf. We're asking that you cleanse him. We're asking that you guide this ancestor. I'm asking that you guide my ancestors to clean him and remove all bad things out of his body. Toy move, toy move, toy move. Ashe, ashe. Okay. Turn your chair this way.
This way, okay.
Hold your head down. Alright, hold that hand. I want this to be slow. Orobi, remove all bad things out of Usiku's body. Remove all bad things out of Usiku's body. Remove all bad things out of Usiku's body. Orobi, remove all bad things out of Usiku's body. Remove anything off of his body. We're asking that you rise up. We're asking that you move all bad things off of his body. Move all bad things off of his body. We're calling on Usiku's mother, Cecile. You're an ancestor now. We ask that you break all curses on your son. We ask that you break all spells on your son. We ask that you assist us in cleansing your son, cleansing his mind, his body, and his soul. Cecile, we ask that you come to his rescue. You are an ancestor now. Now you can help him. So Cecile, we ask that you guide your son's path. We ask that you remove any spells, any rituals, any bad things that have been done on him. You said that he was spellbound on your deathbed. Now we're asking that you rise up in spirit on his behalf. So you said you feel the demons in your stomach, right?
I can slide down.
Where at?
Respectfully, slide back off my hands and off my neck.
Serpent being, show yourself. Show yourself. Show yourself. Show yourself. Show yourself, serpent being. Reveal yourself, serpent being. Reveal yourself. demanding that you leave his body. I'm demanding that you leave his body. Nana bakume matter. Nana bakume matter. Nana bakume matter. Leave his body. Trying to see if I see it. Hold on.
It started a short story, 86 in New York City. And that's when someone put something in me. And at the time I didn't believe in it. I was more like just a straight Negro that believed the only thing you had to worry about was spaghetti. You know what I mean? Like that, right? And so then what happened was at that time I was into God, and I think what God had to do was let me realize how powerful magic was, light and dark. And then the day that I accepted that, then a guy came to my life named Cliff McKay. And he just walked across the street and just said, I need to give you something for your memory, like that. And so we met later on that week in his office because he had a paper in Jersey City or whatever. And he started telling me about how my brother was murdered. You know, and I knew this man had only been from like Jersey City to South Carolina. So I'm like, how the hell you know about Milwaukee, right? And then he described who gave my brother the potion that actually helped my brother. They was giving my brother like a suicide medicine. And after they gave it to him, usually what they would do was they would let him come closer gradually for whatever he was ambitious for. And then somebody would sneak the suicide medicine in him on top of the disappointment. You know, like he was gonna be a doctor and then he was gonna be a lawyer, and they kicked him out those schools. So it made him more prone to want to commit suicide. So ultimately, I think in 86, you know, supposedly he got it done. But this guy, he thoroughly convinced me of the power of magic just by telling me how my brother has died. You know, and he told me that he was murdered opposed to, you know, commit suicide. So, you know, he went on and taught me some things like cleaning me up and stuff like that. But all the time, I've always felt that there's still something inside of me. Like, not him, but I always felt like they never got it all out. You know what I mean? Like that. And so then I spent a lot of time fighting to give it up or learning different things, which has improved me, you know, in terms of my connection with the Great Spirit, you know, like that.
What did some of your symptoms are? What would you feel?
Before I got cleaned up, I was lost of memory, spaced out. I even lost my job and stuff like that. Now that I know how it affects me, you know,
So wait, you lost your memory.
Yeah.
You lost your job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know it affects you in those two ways. Now what about the snakes you was talking about?
I think that's what they used was what the type of snake that they used, they could manipulate it from not being in me. You know what I mean, like that. So when I first got hit, they was using this, manipulating that snake to alter me, to make me think certain things, to make me make the bad decisions. you know, like that with the snake.
You originally from New York?
No.
Your accent though, you sound like you come from New York.
I lived there for a while.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I just don't say water anymore, you know, like that.
No, because I hear the
know,
accent. I'm like, okay.
right.
I always thought you was from New York. I don't know why, but I always did, you know.
I lived there for a while. I think if you stay long enough, you sound, you know what I mean?
Talking like
you get the dialect,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So pretty much, you felt so. How was everything going with you now, with your memory stuff like that? You still having problems with that?
No, my memory. I clean myself up, but I work on myself. My memory bad. Maintaining the job. The only reason I don't have material things is because of what I learned that how they did my brother. I decided that I really didn't want material things until I had mastered what I learned, so that they can't take it away and try to hurt me.
All right, welcome to Voodoo Chronicles. I am Wunam, aka Nicky Love, your African indigenous traditional healer, and today we have a special guest, our brother Usiku. How you doing, brother Usiku?
I'm doing great.
Doing great.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to have new people here on Voodoo Chronicles, and on Voodoo Chronicles, we like to tell stories. Stories about many things. A lot of people don't understand that voodoo just means spirit, family. A lot of people get scared and want to say, oh, voodoo. No, voodoo just means spirit. So we can all identify with the same things in different type of ways. We all know that there are spirits that exist. So Brother Usiku is going to share a story with us that I found to be very interesting about the graveyard. So Brother Usiku, tell us the story about the graveyard.
Thanks a lot. But I want to start it this way because I listened to an interview once where there was some brothers and sisters interviewing Dick Gregory. Mm-hmm. And one of the brothers asked Dick Gregory why he wasn't there with his peers. Dick Gregory said that he went to this little old lady named Miss Gibson. Mm-hmm. And she did that ritual that happened to me on him. And that's why he wasn't there. And that's why I believe today he died of natural causes. Because he openly admitted that he went to a practitioner. You know, I even got the interview, you know, that he went to a practitioner and she told him that there's not enough water in the ocean for them to kill him at that point. My particular experience was maybe August of 1990. The spirit put in my heart that I had to lay on top of a grave. And so, and I at that time, I was afraid of death because I didn't know how closely I was associated with it. You know, Ampu is one of my energies. You know, he is basically the death angel, and he weighed your heart. And so the first night I went out and laid on top of the grave, I started feeling the pricking coming, and it was coming out of my body. And so I got scared, and I got up and ran. You know, and then that next evening, a sister called Belinda called me, and she wanted me to go to church. Well, the preacher's theme was that everybody's replaceable in God's order of things. Everybody's replaceable. And at that time, people was questioning my sanity. So that motivated me to go lay on that grave because it was like, no, I got to prove to my family that I ain't go crazy. I just got called by the Spirit. But it's different from what they was used to because they just assume you get called by the Spirit, you're supposed to preach. Mm-hmm. So I went out there and I laid on top of that grave. You know, and it was the first time in my spirituality that I almost cried because once it started coming into me, I couldn't move and I was froze to the ground and there was just pricks, like prickling, sticking and coming out my body. And I was stuck on that ground for about 5 minutes and all I could do is just lay there and look up and say, y'all better be right. Y'all better be right about this, you know, because y'all got me tripping, right? Yeah. But it ended up being the greatest thing because once he got in and he got used to my body, because it's really what they do is they change out your soul. Okay. You know what I mean? He comes in from the inner earth and he takes your soul out, so they flip your soul. And so there's times when he makes decisions for me. But he's really just a protector, some just like what Miss Gibson did to Dick Gregory. You see, like that. And so I appreciate him. You know, he lets me know he's always around. And sometimes, like if I lose my keys, he'll direct my eyes to where they're at.
So describe this being that you're talking about today. You said he came from inner earth.
Inner earth.
So what does he look like?
The only thing I really know about him, he kind of resembles me because he came in, but he has fangs.
Oh, okay.
You know, so there's times when I can feel his fangs outside of my mouth, and he makes my lip curl, and his fangs come down, they hang about like that. So he's a fang being. He had been in the inner earth so long that I educated him. I took him to a Rambo a Rambo movie, because there was a helicopter went overhead after he came in and he checked and looked up, and I just assumed he didn't know about our technology. And so then I took him to Rambo, because I figured I better take him so he learned about guns, bombs, plane. What better movie than Rambo? You know what I mean? Right. So he instantly learned, what he would be up against if he had to protect me. Like that.
So that's interesting, because a lot of people are into understanding that there are beings in the earth, and some people don't know. And that's interesting, because there are, you're the first I've heard talk about it,
right.
But actually spiritually seeing, I knew there was beings in this earth, but some people don't. So it's interesting. It sounds like you said you sometimes you get fangs. I've seen some beings in the cosmos that had fangs like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Almost like walrus, kind of like fangs, right?
Yeah. And when he's angry, they burn.
They burn.
If you get angry, like they'll burn. But primarily he's there just kind of for my protection.
So were you scared when you was laying in the graveyard?
Man, I dropped a tear. I ain't joking. I dropped a tear. It was like, you better be right, because it was like, yo, get my soul. And it's interesting because now I have a friend that has had her soul changed out. Really? You know what I mean? Yeah, she's got a strong Anunnaki background, and she told me one day they came and changed her soul out, because they were protecting her soul. I think I know that more of these beings are changing their soul out of people for what's going to come in the near future in terms of a reset. But we're not, they're trying to tell you that it's going to be a monetary reset, but it's not. It's going to be, they're looking at more of a reset of the planet. You know what I mean? Because it's just certain people that made certain contracts with certain bad beings that, they got to get off the planet.
So then that rings true about what I've been seeing about the actual meeting. I've seen the meeting taking place on Antarctica with all type of beings and world leaders and beings from the cosmos and the sea. So they showed me that. It's crazy you say that, because they showed me that they were doing a planet reset.
Yes.
So that's confirmation. See.
But you gotta remember, 5 years ago, you said that they was putting those inner beings all. Remember in that show you did with me, you said they set you on the rings of Saturn, and they showed you they were putting those protecting beings all over the earth. Yeah. And so they're there. My thing is why they waiting so long. I'm like, come on, let's get it on now. You know what I mean? There's a lot more people dying, and I won't get political, but there's a lot of people dying, and there's still a lot of gifted kids that don't have anyone to protect them. So then, their parents aren't conscious, so their parents don't know the kids are growing and coming into their power, so they don't have anybody to talk to, which makes them vulnerable. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And maybe that's something we consider, family. We need to make sure that we get the word out and protect our babies, because they're the ones I've seen coming back like superheroes.
Yes, yeah.
Like Superman, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're gonna make good decisions about the planet,
Yeah, they're the beings that come back. That's supposed to be the peacemakers, and so we gotta pay attention to them. But if you notice the kids, you have a daughter, I have the grandkids, and they're like, they're very more like, man, don't argue. Don't, you know what I mean? Why are you getting upset? And you know what I mean? These kids are totally like different. So that's true. Yeah. They come to make a change. But that's interesting. So you cried when you was in the graveyard?
I no shame. I was afraid, but I did it.
How long did you stay in the graveyard?
I lived in the longest stint I lived in the graveyard was 8 months.
Really?
7 months. I lived in the tent for 7 months, and the ancestors worked with me. I went out like February 27th of 2004, and I came back home March. I was married. I damn near made $70,000 because I worked for a while. But then, they started, I called it 3 a days. And they start demanding me meditate for hours 3 times a day, and they make you adjust when you go to the bathroom, make you adjust when you eat, you know. And I just went home. At the time I was married, I told my wife I had to quit, and she said it was cool. So I quit my job like that April 04, and then I just went out there and I would stay and come home every 2 weeks, you know, and clean. But I would live out there in the tent and just meditate and work with what they were trying to teach me.
Okay. Now, the last question is, why is this, to them, what is so significant about the graveyard? Because, you know, me personally, let me just share this with y'all. I don't go to the graveyard unless we're getting rocks for the ancestors, because I know a lot of ancestral spirits are there. But people go for other reasons, because they still feel like, you know, the body's there, but I look at the body like it's gone. I go there because of the ancestors. So a lot of times, you know, people go there, they want to pay homage, but I just feel like the ancestors travel out of the graveyard. They go everywhere.
I do too. You know, because I didn't go to my mother's funeral. We was already dealing with each other. So it's like, I ain't going, I'm going to go celebrate something. You don't exist there. You're already in my room.
Exactly.
So I didn't go to a funeral. Yeah. But I do know also that there's residue energy there.
Okay.
And so you can still pick up a lot of residue energy, which, you know, you can help multiply your energy with that residue energy, even if you're, you know, even if you're not like directly communicating with your ancestors, but they are residue energy. But I think, you know, at first I think they, like ancestors, what I found is they kind of don't trust us. And so they always pitting us kind of against fear to make us prove our loyalty, because some of the power they give you, they got to make sure you're responsible. You know what I mean? And so I think when they first put me out there, it was about, let's see how loyal you'll be. You know, and then now when I go, it's just residue energy, or sometimes it's just quiet.
It's quiet.
You know, all going around, but yeah.
So these beings find that energy good to do what they like to do, which is teach you and guide you.
Yeah, or like, say for instance, let's say if you have a difficult deity that's bad, sometimes you can go to a certain graveyard and your gift is times 10, because you can connect through that residue energy. You see what I mean? And then you can go, because part of my gift and these younger kids' gift is that that those people that's in that meeting in Antarctica, they don't directly want to involve themselves, but they want to be able to work through us as medium. And so we got to learn we may have to learn how to clean up our planet. You know what I mean? Like that. And that's like, you know, there's a friend, she got a 3-year-old son, but he ate. You know what I mean? Because, you know, the old spirits is coming back through. Yeah. And so, you know, a part of that is we got to really look at being more self-involved in our planet.
In our planet. Yeah. And you know what they told me? There was a message they put out last year. To wrap it up, y'all, there was a message they put on that last year. It was, about 3 years ago? Maybe about 4 years ago. They kept speaking to me, telling humans. They said, tell the human beings to take off their shoes and ground themselves to earth again. That was message, and then they had us do a whole week of greens, but not for help, but because something in the greens was going to do something, had something to do with our DNA. But I remember specifically, they said, tell the beings that they need to take off their shoes and ground themselves back to earth. Yeah, that's what they told me. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, family, there you have it. Some new knowledge. You want to shout out some shows and shout out your show that you have and shout out, you know?
Well, I'm not doing a lot, family, but, you know me from the Ring and Stone Network. Now I'm the Ring and Stone Network on YouTube. And I got a few YouTubes up. I'm trying to prove to the dark side that there are children that are waking up. So each show that I do, I always bring on somebody that has never been on the show. Normally Nicky's there. Maybe Star Child's there, but I try to bring somebody in to prove to them. Because I think we always got to prove to that dark side that we exist. And we got to prove that we're not afraid of them. And we got to prove that we're going to fight them. You know what I mean? And we're going to fight them through our ancestral energy or the beings that's coming here to work with us. And it's very important. You know, my thing, and then I'll be quiet, my thing is, you know, like Satan people are always loud, but we ain't loud enough. And that was one of the reasons I always tried to invite Nicky to my show. because she don't have no shame in her game. And so she makes people proud because, she has no shame. And I'm laughing, but it's for me, I'm very sincere to when somebody does something and they stand up as bold as Nicky do and tell you, this is what I do, right? And that's important for the little girl. Mm-hmm. And her confusion, or the little boy, that I could say, well, go look at what Nicky say. Because we can't be fooled. What's naturally happening in front of us, that ain't no voodoo. Voodoo means spirit, but what's naturally happening is the voodoo spirit is opening our DNA so that we can see and dream. And we got to believe in that and let no government fool us that we are black and evil based on something that naturally happened to us, just like sneezing.
What do you mean by dark side? The dark side.
Well,
some people may think it's something else. So I want to know. I just want to know. I want them to know what you mean by it.
I mean that there's people that naturally oppose us.
That's what I thought you.
And then there's people that naturally oppose the planet, which is a part of us. Like Nicky said, you take your shoes off. And those people have an agenda to terraform this planet. Like that. They want to make it look like Mars. And so that's dark to me,
Yeah, a lot of that, we say disagreeable energies and disagreeable spirits out there. And, you know what I mean? I know that everybody be sure to check out the Ring and Stone Network. He has a lot of good guests on there, a lot of good information and knowledge that we all need to know. Because I like to say, like Francis Chris Wilson and them, I'm still learning. You understand? You can't never not learn. It's just always good to add to your knowledge database. So be sure to check out our brother because he's teaching me some things. You understand?
You gotta. I know you don't have a website, but you gotta wait for them to reach you. If you got any products, do you got?
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. Products. Look what y'all. I got. What I got, y'all. I got. What's this, Heaven?
Organ. Organ. She has the healer that help heal you, and then she has ancestors to connect you to your ancestral energy.
The healer.
And what is this you gave me?
And he has thalamus that helps open up your three glands and help them work together in your brain. The three glands in your brain.
And one more, brother. What's this one you gave me right here? What does this one?
That one is called Uwi, and it's one of my most powerful. I haven't given it a name. It's just a name for a friend of mine. We joke about.
What does the Uwi do?
Uwi opens you. It's flexible to wherever you want to go. If you put it on your body, it helps open that up on your body.
All right, y'all. So, Brother Usiku, give them your information so if they want to get some of these great. And let me tell y'all something. Y'all know me to be very powerful, and I'm not even bragging, but I've heard, and very ritualistic, okay? Basically, I'm ritualistic fan. I'm going to tell y'all like this. When I put this in my hand, it tingled it. So I know that my brother Sekou is working with a lot of powerful energy because it tingled my hand. And I'm going to just say like this. Both of them, very powerful. And it was crazy. I didn't tell you this, but the one that you gave me, the healer, I have, Tauruses have a tendency to have problems with the golden spot. So Spirit must have told you to give me this one because it's perfect. So family, it was like Spirit moved him to give me this one, which is going to be good because with the allergies and all the throat stuff, especially with Tauruses. So it's perfect for what I need. So I like to say, you know what? Everybody has something to help everybody. And my thing is we all can help each other. And like Brother Usiku said, that other energy, we're going to have to stand up. We're going to have to really come together. Everybody has something to offer. Let's remember that, family. So he got something to offer. We got something to offer. We need to come together because there's going to be a time in our community where we ain't going to have nobody but each other. So on that note, family, we want to thank you. Brother Usiku, you want to show them the card?
My contact information is 678-718-5480. Usiku Jiku Il, contact number 678-718-5480. Or you can get me at usiku56@gmail.com. That's USIKU56@gmail.com. Thank you, fam.
All right, thank you. And we want to thank you for tuning in to Voodoo Chronicles. I am Nicky Love, a.k.a. Wunam, or Wunam, a.k.a. Nicky Love, your African indigenous traditional healer. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, go ahead.
Hey family, we are at the Muslim graveyard right now, and when we walked in, the ancestors start running to us, and the trees start blowing. Y'all see how dark it is out here? Look at all of that. Y'all see how it is out here? And this is a Muslim graveyard. We're whispering because we want to make sure we don't wake up the ancestors. I see somebody in there. Somebody's in that little house.